Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, family. It is 7 minutes past the hour on this 20th day of November. Yours truly, Joe Dupree, in the building from 100 BLK, the Black Station. But I ain't by myself. You see her? You see her? She is better known as your art therapist, your speaker, your author, your life therapist, and all that good stuff. It's Sister Jax in the building. Good morning, Sister Jax. How you doing?
What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm doing wonderful. A little sleepy, a little sleepy. It was a long, late night, business, as usual, out in New York City, hanging out, doing some work. We got invited to a beautiful, beautiful yacht event. So it was amazing. It was for a business thing, that my husband and I are
Mhm.
working on. And so we turned into a little date night. So we had a
That's what
phenomenal
I'm
time.
talking about.
Yes, yes. I mean, on the yacht, it was windows floor to ceiling. It was like 4 floors. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. So sailing around on the Hudson River for a few hours, hanging out in NYC with my boo, having a great time.
Doing a little networking. Doing a little
For sure.
network.
For
Yeah, that
sure.
part. That
Yes,
part. That
yes,
part. It is.
absolutely.
It is Work It Out Wednesday, family. Work It Out Wednesday coming on later in the show. Brother Fatim will be on. Also, we will have my man Sean P with the Sean P Experience telling you all about the great literature that is out there for you to be reading. If you didn't see my page, I posted on there my good friend Mr. Ellisby, and he sent me his autograph copy, my autograph copy, before I let go, and had the awesome opportunity to speak to the elder, and just to sit at the feet of the elders and soak up a lot of wisdom is always beautiful. We are headed into the holiday season. It will be here, and the new year will be here before you know it. Family, if you are planning on doing any traveling, better get yourself in order. Be exact, I'll be on the road Friday after the show, headed to Houston, Texas to see my little man, my grandson,
Oh,
and to see my daughter, and to spend the weekend in Houston. Let me show you how crazy. Let me show you just how crazy my life is about to be.
okay.
I live an hour from Baton Rouge. I was in Baton Rouge last night dealing with some stuff with Southern Lab. Congratulations to the Southern Lab Kittens, who were last year's state champions. Those young ladies in high school got their championship rings last night, and they played the Santa Ma Gators, which they gave the Santa Ma Gators just a whopping. Those girls are on all cylinders clicking at that high school, which is a feeder high school from Southern University. So to the Southern Lab Kittens, congratulations on getting your championship rings last night and starting this season off in championship style with a big win over Santa Ma. Now, I'm going to
Beautiful.
Houston on Friday. I come
Okay.
back Sunday. I'm in New Orleans Monday. I come back from New Orleans
Mm.
Monday, only to be Tuesday, Wednesday, of course, and Thursday for Thanksgiving. And then, boom, I'm back in New Orleans for the Bayou Classic. After
Wow.
the Bayou Classic, I get a week to relax, rest myself, and then I'm headed to Jackson, Mississippi. Now, Jackson, Mississippi is special. I
Mhm.
have two brothers, twin brothers, Melvin and Marvin, who live in well, they don't live in Jackson, Mississippi. Let me correct, because they may jump on here quickly and say we live in Ridgeland, but
Uh,
they went to the Jackson State University, which Southern University will be playing for the SWAC championship to see who goes to Atlanta, Georgia. So watch this: Houston, New Orleans, Jackson, Mississippi. I promise you, this team right here, these Southern University Jaguars, will probably shock the world and beat Jackson State. And then I'll be on December the 14th in Atlanta, Georgia.
wow.
I'm
Okay,
literally
Joe.
going nonstop. And then it's all of you do know, next month will be my last month on the show for 4 months, and I'll be back after the 4 months. I have to go away. I have to do some stuff that is pregnant to my job, but
Mhm.
then I'll be back bigger, better, and better.
That's
But
right. That's
and
right.
Brother Team will be rocking the show for the first 4 months of the new year. And 2025 gonna be big things happening with hashtag truth be told. I'm telling y'all, it's gonna be all that and then some. So
That is
man,
awesome,
I
Joe.
got a crazy next 30
You
days.
too. And Joe, you better make sure over these next 30 days you are eating well, you are doing your best to rest well, right? You are on top of your meds, you are on top of everything. because we need you to come back healthy and strong and, not passing out and not sick and carrying on. We need you, Joe. The world
None
needs
of,
you, Joe.
none of that. And let me say this for everybody who reached out for me yesterday with the passing away of my childhood friend,
Mm,
Craig Burton, better known as Sugar Bear. I hadn't talked to Sugar Bear's brother since the cow jumped over the moon.
mm,
But Brandon, his brother, who we call Baldy, called me yesterday and we had a great conversation. And through all of this football and me traveling from state to state, and actually, I'll probably wind up in another country before this whole thing is all said and done. I will be at a homegoing celebration for my friend.
amen.
So I gave my brother my word that
Mm,
I would be at his homegoing celebration, and it will be just that. It will be a celebration, y'all. So,
amen.
he has 5 children. Man,
Mm,
me and that dude is too much alike. We just too much alike. And I'm
wow.
gonna post another picture of him up here shortly to show you him with his just lovely family. He was an outstanding man, an outstanding
Mm,
father, an outstanding friend. And if you knew Sugar Bear, he was the man. So thank you for everybody who reached out to me, called me, text me,
mhm,
got in touch with me and said, man, I know you lost a person that meant a great deal to you in your life. And I
mm,
just thank you for all the love and all the prayers, not for me, but so much for him and his family. Because when I
mm,
post you this picture, he has a beautiful, just a beautiful family, handsome
mm.
sons, beautiful daughters, and he will be sorely missed. So with that being said, on this Work It Out Wednesday, if you got something you need to work out with somebody, don't hold all that hate, don't hold all those problems, work it out. Thank you.
Amen. Amen. And you know what, Joe? Once again, my deepest condolences, to you. I just love it when you refer to yourself as an old country boy. I love it. And I mean, even now I think about you, like I could see little JoJo riding up to school on a horse. So that still cracks me up. And I think that is
Hold
so
on.
dope.
Let me tell you when that happened. JoJo
Yeah.
wasn't that little. JoJo was 15 years old.
Yeah.
JoJo was running late for his high school class, and you're right. JoJo
Yeah.
knew that his mama, who
Yep.
this lady I show pictures of constantly, this lady had cleaned many a white folks' house. The help ain't got
Mm,
nothing on Earlene Anderson. That lady from
wow.
the day I was adopted until the day I left. That's
Yes.
all she
Yeah.
did. She was that person who literally did what the help did. She cleaned
Wow.
white people's houses. And
Yeah. Yeah.
I knew that lady would have beat me senseless the moment and would deserve it to.
Mhm.
Once she found out, A, I missed the bus, and B, I didn't even make an effort to go to school.
Isn't
If
that
I had
something?
a yeah, if I had said, Mama, nah, it's just, we too far from the school. We too
Yeah.
far from the school. We literally lived
Mhm.
about 15 miles from the school.
Are
So
you
I rode a
serious?
horse.
Wow.
I rode a horse 15 miles
Oh my God. You had the
like
fear
in
of
the
God on
like
you.
in the Wild Wild. I should have came up there. Should have came up there with chaps and a cowboy hat on. Said the Wild Wild West. But instead,
Yes.
I had on my Future Farmers of America jacket, and
Amen.
because I was a part of FFA,
Okay.
Future Farmer, FF, yeah, Future Farmers, yeah,
Yeah,
Future
yeah.
Farmers of America. Had on my blue denim farmer's jacket,
Wow,
my blue
Joe.
jeans, and I got up off my horse, and I went to the principal and told him. I said, "Hey, principal, I'm sorry, I'm late. I got to tie my horse up. Is that okay?" And he
Shut
said, "Man,
up.
go back to behind the stadium. There's a thing where we would work out for football." He said, "Tie your horse up back there." And he said, "I'm glad you came to school."
Wow. Amen, Joe. Like that is the flyest story ever. Like I absolutely love that. I love, and it's so crazy because when we really think about it, a lot of those stories that you share, even I saw something the other day about Ruby Bridges, right? People think that that was so long ago, but that whole story with Ruby Bridges, she's only like 60 something years old right now. So all this, segregation and, old school stuff really ain't that old school. It's really
Hold it.
not that old
I
school.
was born. Hold it. I was born in '67 in Memphis, Tennessee.
Wow.
I was found 5 blocks, and if you go 5 blocks from the old dilapidated
Mhm.
house that I was found in, 5 blocks away, there is a hotel called the Lorraine Hotel.
Wow.
And a year later, I think it was less than a year later, after my birth and being found, one iconic African American
Mhm.
figure lost his life civil
Mm,
rights figure, and that was Dr. Martin Luther King at the Lorraine Hotel, which is literally
wow.
5 blocks from the old dilapidated house that I was
That's
found under.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we see how recent that is. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's not that long ago. And people think this stuff is some antiquated old school happened years and years ago. It really didn't happen that long ago. Not even damn near a generation ago. Like it just
Right, right.
happened.
Hold it. It ain't like what we had to learn in school, four scores and so many
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah, our founding
Yeah.
fathers. No, no. A lot of people, and yesterday I know we showed a video, and we really haven't had a chance to talk about some of the stuff we wanted to talk about, like the Tyson fight, because we get caught up in
Exactly.
conversation on here. And once again, that's why we do this podcast. Let me tell people why I created this podcast. This podcast was my brainchild, my creation. And really, I give only me being the vessel, because I really didn't create it. It was really created by the Most High. He's the
Hmm.
one who imparted the idea. I take not the credit on this.
Hmm.
I take the credit on nothing. And I created this as a platform where we could speak our minds. Regardless if I agreed with you or didn't agree with you, we
Hmm.
could speak our minds. That's why sometimes I do say to myself, man, what is going on? What is happening? And speaking of which, since everybody in the chat was throwing up the red flags, well, not everybody, certain folks in the chat were saying, where's Brother Fatim? Where's Brother Fatim? Well, Brother Fatim was running a little late, but he will be on shortly. To be exact, he just jumped in the green room. I'm going to let him relax, drink his drink, kind of get himself together, and then I'm going to bring him on. But as I was saying, this podcast was imparted to me by the Most High to be a blessing to those who felt like they didn't have a voice, that their truth was never being told. And I always say to myself the following: sometimes when the truth is being told, it might not be your truth or the truth you want to hear, but it's good to know how people are feeling. Once again, I'm not here to tell you how to think, what to think, but I am telling you, you need to begin to think and figure out ways and mechanisms to put yourself in a position that you're in the know.
That's right.
And
That's
check your sources when you get information, because if your information source is corrupt, the information you get may be corrupt. With that being said, you know him.
right.
He's our brother from another mother. You know him from the Open Lines Online and Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. 1075 in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, Brother Fatim. He is
Morning,
in the
morning.
building.
The truth.
Are your people looking for you, man? They were about to throw up a Fatim signal, not the bat signal. They're about to throw a big F in the sky. Is he anywhere to be found?
Good morning. Good morning. The truth will set you free. And I was up early, fooling around with social media, Jackson Joe. Then jumped in the shower. I had to wash this and blow dry this hair, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to rush, man. So I want to blow dry it and get it together this morning. So good morning. I'm here. I'll just join right on in, because sometimes I just start running my mouth. So
Wait, Fatim, you blow dry your hair because what, you getting ready to go outside, or you just blow dry it because your mama said don't have wet hair sitting in the house?
I blow dry it because damp hair sometimes gets me stopped up. So I just blow dry it. And if I want to go out, I've trained my body now that I can wash my hair, blow dry it, and go right out now.
Okay.
In the night, I still blow dry it because I don't like to go to bed with damp hair. Damp hair seems to stop me up. People say colds come from viruses. Unfortunately, a lot of us have these experiences. So I blow dry my hair. My mother was the point that she would wash my hair like in the night, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
In the night, we didn't have a blow dryer. So we towel dried and heat up the house. And that's how it worked till I got, in the morning, you know what I'm saying? But I hate to pick my hair and my hair comes out. That means it's dirty. So I try to frequently wash it, as much as possible.
Okay.
Plus I got to go, for the family day coming up. I want to just even it out a little bit. But I love my hair. I love my hair. Yeah,
But Fatim don't play. Fatim is so old school. Fatim I bet you crease your pants. You crease your shorts, Fatim. You crease your pants.
My shorts are creased.
See? Yeah.
I don't crease them now. Now I got a pair of jeans that my boy Victor got on. Now your jeans got creases in. So there was only one pair of jeans that I have creased. But no. I'm sorry. It's a couple of. I got a pair of black jeans. And they hit my sneakers right. I just don't like my jeans to bunch up. unless I'm wearing Timbs. If I'm wearing Timbs or boots, I know how to run. I got that rugged look, ladies.
Yeah,
I got that rugged
we got a
look.
correction though, Fatine. If you
It's the
creasing them,
ladies,
they ain't-
man.
Look, if
You know,
creasing them,
I'm
they-
old
they
school.
call
You
jeans.
got to match everywhere. You got to have reds. You know what I'm saying? You got to be old school. You know what I'm saying? I said I'm
He has
matching
to
up to the underwear.
coordinate.
There's no underwear on the day right now, so
He has
I
to
ain't matching
coordinate.
Fatine, if you got a
Coordinate.
crease in them, they ain't called jeans, Fatine. They called dungarees. They called
Dungarees,
got
I
to
don't give a damn. I'm gonna look good. Trust me, I'm gonna
You
look
gotta
good.
coordinate.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Coordinate.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Look,
I
we got
love
folks
it.
logging in all over the place, man. I want to tell everybody we are broadcasting live on Facebook Live, on Instagram Live. You can catch us on Instagram at the JDMS or on YouTube at 100 BLK Media. You could also go to our website, which is www.the100blk.com. And of course, we are here. Join in into the conversation. The phone lines are open, 225-250-8770. Around this time, I do this quite often. Like I said, we got Brother Sean P coming in to talk about the book. I have the slightest idea what book he's talking about, but I'm going to put it here. If you want to come into the green room, you are welcome. We ain't never scared of nobody. And we
Where's
want folks to
Jules?
come in and tell.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I'm
Saying
drafting. I'm drafting KC.
Oh
Okay.
God.
KC.
Oh, God.
Wait. I'm not gonna get her for her to get into the green room. We hold off on that, but she got to call in.
Wait, how many months?
Let me tell Casey straight up. Don't let none of my chicken heads call in before you, Casey. Don't let none of my chicken heads call in before you, Casey.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. You don't worry about what I'm talking about, Joe. You just stay over there, keep your head bowed down, and that's what you do.
No. I'm keeping my head bowed down because I'm in my phone doing something. But okay.
Okay, cool.
All right. Chicken, really, man.
My chicken heads.
Not the balk. Come on.
Yeah, I got
some. Let me get my man Juicy J and Prince
Paul. Inside joke, man. She know what that means. Let my chicken heads beat you. Don't let my chicken heads beat you calling in.
Yeah, they hit heads.
They're calling. Might put me on blast. I don't know. They might put me on blast. Then they say Fatine BS and he ain't pushing up the right way. Well, I ain't trying to get myself in no trouble. I ain't trying to get myself in no trouble right now.
Joe,
holidays coming. I ain't buying too many gifts.
Joe, if a chick pop up in the green room, though.
Listen, I won't have to do like Fatime done had me. I done had to do Rodriguez because no disrespect is allowed. And now Fatime added, I don't even know the brother's name. Some brother from South Carolina. He on the no-fly list. So
brother Herman, that's his real name.
Fatime quick to put people on the no-fly list. Put her on the no-fly list immediately. Immediately. Yeah,
he don't know
I gonna be up.
It's just that I'm not riding on that train when he comes on. I'm getting off. Okay. I'll be back. I'll find something to do.
Wait, what happened to Rodriguez? He had called in with a different name. Hello, this is Anthony. Another day. Hello.
He got our ass right now. He should call in and just gloat because he can gloat now.
Yeah, we haven't heard from him since the presidential election.
He got off the no-fly list because we ain't gonna have you lying and disrespecting. But he off the no-fly list. But it is what it is. Let me get this into the chat for everybody. Where in case you do want to come into the green room, you are welcome because we welcome everybody. Like I said, once again, this platform was created not for me to prove that I'm right, but just to have us a place that we could talk. Because many a times you don't have a place where you can freely express yourself, even if the views that you give don't concur or match up with the views that we line up with. We still give you a place to speak your mind. So
that's true. I ain't gonna disappear.
And that's one thing I do appreciate about us, because we ain't never scared. Well, at least let's put it like this: we ain't running away unless there's.
We ain't never scared. Ain't never scared. You got it right.
I gotta be careful because somebody might go back and pull a certain show and say, I don't know if I can really say that because look like y'all quick to cut and run when certain things happen. So I don't want nobody challenging me on that.
I because he didn't need all that damn time. That's the damn thing. He got so much time, and people in the chat were complaining. And then when we brought him back, because the phone lines wasn't good, I understand what Joe was doing, but he already had a platform. He already had time to say what he had to say, and he was done. So bye.
Wait. So
That's all
what
to
were
it.
people in the chat complaining for?
They were
what?
complaining, was like, get this fool off of here.
Okay.
That's what they were complaining about. And then when I left, a couple other people left. I didn't tell them to leave. They just left because it was BS that he was talking.
Okay.
I mean, hey.
That's funny.
Yeah, hey.
Well, it is.
We're in the era, no beating.
But see,
The hell?
if you're ever in New York and if you decide to take any of your chicken heads out on a date, right? Then
Come on.
You're gonna use my name.
Come on.
And I, I was invited last week or a few weeks ago, whatever, to this red carpet event, right? So it was like an exclusive event aboard this yacht in New York City. We sailed on the Hudson. The food was amazing. It's like, what is it, like 3 or 4 floors? And it was so beautiful last night. So, it was just, we had a ball. So it's always nice when you could turn a business, thing into, a date night with your boo. So we had a great time. So if you ever go, the yacht is called Eternity. And I mean, it is phenomenal. We, spoke at length with the owner, and the owner owns several other businesses. So he's really, really doing it. And he started out in poverty, came here as an immigrant, and he has like city bike stuff all around New York. He has these, classic cars that he rents out for big time movies. He owns these yachts, and we had a great time speaking with him, networking, speaking with his attorney. His attorney gave me some great advice, y'all. So listen, so any of you guys that have children that just started to drive, right now, our daughter is on like our policy, right? So my husband and our car insurance in Jersey is pretty expensive, especially in Newark. So we were only, but it went down a lot. He's a cop and we have no accidents. So we were only paying about $140 a month. It went down drastically. But once Olivia got her license in a car, it went up to over $800 a month, right? So the attorney we were speaking with last night said to have Olivia get her own policy. Even though, we'll still pay it, let her get her own policy, because God forbid she's in an accident, they could come after our home, they could come after my husband's pension and any other assets that we have. So it's better for her to have her own policy because they have nothing to come after because she's a kid. So he said it could be slightly more expensive, but he said it's still worth it in the end, because my husband,
Very true.
Yeah. So it was
Very
great
true.
advice, but it's
Good.
always nice.
Hold it. Excellent advice.
Right, excellent advice. And it's just always nice being at these events, because you never ever want to be somewhere where you're the smartest person in the room. You always
no,
wanna be-
indeed.
right?
No, indeed.
That's right. So I mean, it's funny. My husband and I, we have such similar spirits. You know what I'm saying? So whenever we're out, we just love to network and talk to people and build relationships, and it's just fun. Like it's like we just tag team and we just kill them, and we just have a great time. So it's always good to have a partner where you're evenly yoked, and you can respect one another and go out and handle business and still have a good time. So, but get out there, y'all, handle some business, network, and open your mouth, talk to folks. Don't be afraid.
So let me talk about this right now, since y'all, before it gets out there. I know Brother Fatim we were just talking about Brother Fatim and his creased jeans, and how, Brother Fatim in his own right with his athletic gear is clean from his head to his toes. He be clean.
Yeah.
He be killer clean in that athletic gear. Y'all ain't ready for what I'm about to unleash for this Bayou Classic press conference and for the Classic itself.
Ooh.
I will be on TV, on the sidelines with NBC during the Bayou Classic and during the Greek show and the Battle of the Band, and performing for the Fan Fest.
Yes,
I'm gonna go with some Wingstop. I'm gonna have some Wingstop thighs when I get on the stage and go, because I'm gonna be up there with Rick Ross.
I'm drooling. You said thighs. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You said thighs. Yeah. I started drooling.
I got legs, breasts, and thighs. And
Oh,
we talking
that's
chicken.
not
We
the
talking chicken.
department,
But
baby.
when you talk legs, breasts, and thighs, you gotta be careful, Brother Fatim. He forget that black folks do eat bird. He thinking bird, all right, but he ain't thinking bird like we thinking bird. I'm just saying. But look, Rick Ross will be at the fanfare, and we are expecting beautiful weather. So I'm here to say, and of course, I'm going to be with Doc Griggs.
Beautiful weather and beautiful women.
Well,
beautiful weather and beautiful women.
That's Louisiana. I know, because I ate some gumbo and I've been here ever since.
You need to eat me some gumbo.
I ate some gumbo and I've been here ever since.
So don't need gum or the bow.
I
Hold
need
it,
some of that. boy.
hold it.
I
To
need
be
some of that
exact,
gumbo.
hold it. I'm gonna make you laugh. My oldest son made a joke to me. He said, "Dad, you talk all that noise," but he said, "I'm the only one that wasn't born in Louisiana." And I said, "You know what? You got a good point about that." So, he said, "You talk that noise, but he said you always talk about I'm coming back to Europe one day." He said, "No, you're not." He said, "You stuck like Chuck because I'm the only one that was not born in Louisiana."
Wow, that's
I said,
funny.
"Yeah." I said, "There's something about Eve's Bayou that'll keep you around this place."
Oh,
I said, "Sure will." I said, "Interview with a vampire." Anne Rice knew what she was talking about. I'm here to tell you.
but they got them
Oh,
spells out there, huh, Joe? They got them spells and all that stuff.
hey. I'm telling you, you know,
Yeah.
that's all I can say.
Hey,
I
you
would not
talking
say no
like a
more.
damn duck if you want to. I gotta watch
Hey,
what gumbo I got my,
That's
I'm
right.
eating, I got a
You
question
mess
for
around
y'all
and
real
chicken.
quick.
talk to
Question
me,
for
man.
y'all. Got a question.
Talk
for
to
you.
me.
What you got?
I saw what KC wrote, about, I'm gonna buy some Stockton Pampers and pull-ups. Yeah. So
Well, you better
it
buy
was
stock
make,
in some damn Depends for tea.
yeah, that's what I ain't
Look,
putting
me
no
and you
stock.
both.
I don't deal with people in Depends. I'm in the Pamper region.
Ew, no, don't say that for tea.
Pull up
Don't
the
say that.
Pampers. I don't know nothing about no Pampers. I'm in the Pampers. I deal with Pampers and pull-ups.
At least say always for tea. Be in that region or always region.
And always.
This dude said
Let me
Pampers and
ask
pull
y'all-
up, man. You a
let me
big
ask-
kid now?
No, there's an underlying
kids,
joke
hide your
there.
wife.
I ain't in the kids, but never mind. So anyway, I sit back and I think, I'm gonna try to make this interesting because it just came to my head. I look back at some people. Look, I was mentioning Madonna. Madonna is one. I can't sit there and say Halle Berry is one, but Cher, for those that know Cher is one. And what I mean is people that tend to date younger people for whatever reason. You see some men deal with younger women. You've seen in certain dynasties, kings have had younger women, younger concubines. They younger. And there is something about that. I can't speak to all of them, why they do. But for me, and somebody said to me before, if I was work out with some younger females, and me and Hanifa were in our kids were, so we were in our early 40s, and we went to work out at this workout in Rochdale. Dre be watching. If she's on, she would know what I'm talking about, because there was a young lady that had this workout. It may still be going on in Rochdale, Queens. So we went, but we went with our neighbors. Our neighbors were younger and they were cute. And it had an effect on both of me and Hanifa. And I'm gonna tell you how. For me, I had one sister with me. Hanifa was up in the front, and Hanifa was with the other sister. And I was like, I ain't gonna let this young girl show me up. I gotta look good. You know what I'm saying? And Hanifa was like, I'm not gonna let this young girl, I'm gonna keep up with her. And we kept up. Or we came home, and before we got upstairs, we sat down on the stairs and got that Gatorade. But it pushed us, and we laughed about it. And the young ladies lived on our block, so they came over. We were talking. They said, y'all kept up. Y'all did good, and this, that, and the other. So the point I'm making is that sometimes, and I'm going to speak for me, sometimes you tend to me and Hanifa were the same age. That's an investment in a relationship. But a lot of times we get into these quote unquote, let's say just relationships with a younger person. And sometimes the younger person maturity or wisdom because of experience. It's not their fault that they haven't experienced as much as life as you, because you're older. Some people are wiser. Some young people have gone through a lot of hard times and are wise. But let's just say through, dealing, I'm not talking about a baby, but dealing with somebody that is younger. Is there a problem dealing with that person? You in love with them. You build a family with them. They're younger. But when it comes to certain things of wisdom, you don't get from them. You still love them. You're not cheating, but you have a female friend that kind of you converse with, you may have lunch once in a while with, that nourishes your mind, but you're on friend level. Is there a problem with that? Do y'all see a problem with that? If you're in love with your wife, this is your wife, this ain't your girlfriend, but she's younger, and everything is cool. It's just that because of her lack of going through life. She hasn't gone through everything that you may have gone through, or some older women that sometimes you need that nourishment from an older woman or somebody that's evenly yoked, as you just said, just on that level, but that person tends to be a friend. Is there a problem with that?
Sister
I mean,
Jax,
to
I
me,
defer to
I
you.
think it could be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? I think it could be dangerous building some other relationship outside of your marriage where you can potentially get closer, or you're feeling another one of your needs are
It's a
being met.
friend. It's a friend. It's a friend.
It's,
It's a known friend to
yeah.
both of y'all. Friend.
Yep. I mean, it's a known friend of both y'all, but sometimes it still crosses the line. You know, sometimes it's still conversations kind of might, get some sort of way, or maybe sometimes a man might be saying to the older known friend, like, yeah, my wife just doesn't understand this, and maybe because she's young, so you don't know where that older friend's mind is, right? Because sometimes the older friend's mind could be someplace else, and maybe she was plotting on you the whole time, or maybe she might be going through something, and now she might develop feelings for you. So it's just dangerous. It's just dangerous. So that's why, like, when we take on, a spouse, we have to understand, okay, they come to the table with trauma. This is what they've been through. Or they come to the table 12, 15, 20 years younger than me. So we already know what's coming to the table. So, scripture always tells us to prove a friend. So we got to prove a friend, and just, try to get what you can get from your wife, or just have other conversation. But other conversation with another woman about perhaps intimate conversation could still be very dangerous. Or with
You know,
another man, obviously, could still
you,
be
Okay,
very
so I'm gonna
dangerous.
let Joe go. I'm gonna tell you why I disagree. I'm gonna respond to you, Jackson. I'm gonna respond to Joe, what Joe
Okay.
says. Go ahead, Joe.
no, go ahead and respond.
Okay,
And
so
then
I
I'll
disagree,
respond. Go ahead.
and this is what I'm saying. The
Mhm.
reason why I don't totally disagree, that can happen. The
Mhm.
problem is we always tend to look for damn problems. And when we use the word friend, why do we make it can become something like that, but it doesn't always become like that.
Mhm.
Sister Jax. Me and Hanifa had friends. A lot of her girlfriends were my friends. We talk things. They call me about health things, this, that, and the other private, personal things. Hanifa knew, and nothing crossed the line there.
Yeah.
Okay. So we always tend to always put that. Yeah, we know that it can happen. But what happens if it's healthy friendship? What is the problem with opposite sex? Why can't we be trustworthy
Mhm.
with opposite sex? Even though it can happen, it doesn't
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
happen.
It,
So
it
for
doesn't.
me, it doesn't, let me just finish. It doesn't always happen. So I'm not going to throw away a friendship if
Mhm.
I'm saying I love this woman that I married and we all lack in something.
Mhm.
We all lack in something. And he's not complaining about his wife because he knows he accepted that. But
Mhm.
at times, sometimes he just need that little bounce back. Just like you
Yes.
could be on the job and I'm sitting here with my coworker who's
Yeah.
older, who's a coworker friend that could give me the same thing. What's the problem with that? We always tend to look at it being a problem where it doesn't always have to be a
Yeah.
problem, and we throw away friendships and good relationships. When I talk about relationship, friendships, because of this boogeyman over your shoulder. You better not do that because somebody may develop feelings. It may happen, but it may not happen.
Yeah.
Why do we do that to each other?
It's really just a risk, right? It's just, taking a risk sometimes. I mean, even if you think about with drugs, one person might get high once and never do it again. Somebody else might get high once and become a full-fledged drug addict, right? So it's still a risk, in it all. So I mean, even my husband and I, we have friends. My husband knows a ton of people. I know a ton of people. We talk to different people, but it's still, number one, the amount of time you engage with that person and the context and content of what you're speaking with to that person. But also you got to be aware to check that person. If they ever start kind of crossing the line,
Correct.
saying things that's inappropriate, or trying to get their way into your marriage and have something to say about your marriage in a certain way, you have to know how to pump the brakes and, like, whoa, this ain't what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe I didn't ask you for your opinion, or I don't need your help. We're just talking about other stuff. But sometimes people are dangerous. Everybody is not, so kind and friendly. We might go to them just, seeking, advice, or, getting their opinion. But sometimes everybody's spirits aren't there. So we just have to be careful to use discernment. That's all.
So if I may now kind of hop in here. Fatim, there's some things you said that I felt were spot on. And Sister Jackson, some things you said that were completely spot on. So let me first address this from what you said, Brother Fatim. if you are married and you have a friend, and I want to give this on both sides, and it's not just on the male side, but on the female side. Anybody that you are communicating with and you are married, your spouse needs to know who you're communicating with and what y'all are communicating about.
Amen.
If they are your friend. The problem I can see, and not saying this happens all the time, I'm not saying this happens most of the time, but I have seen times when this has happened that all of a sudden there is secrecy, and there should be no secrecy within a married couple amongst themselves. They shouldn't hold secrets from one another. Now, a lot of us were taught that. A lot of us saw that. You know, a lot of us had mothers and fathers who told you, I don't tell daddy everything. I don't tell mama everything. I don't let her know about this account I have over here. I don't let her know. See, because once again, wrong is wrong and right is right, regardless of how you slice it or how you defend it. What's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. And you should never have secrets from your spouse. Now, that's the facts. Here's the reality. There's a difference sometimes between facts and reality. The reality is a lot of us in a lot of our relationships, not only spouse relationships, but a lot of our close relationships, we hold secrets from one another for whatever reason, out of embarrassment, out of shame, out of you don't need to know this or whatever. At the end of the day, I always say this for a reason, because when it was blessed unto me, I woke up quickly. You have to protect your gates. You got to protect your eye gates. You got to protect your ear gates, and you got to protect your mouth gates. You got to protect those gates of entry and exit, because some things, once they are released, they cannot be brought back. And once some things are seen, they cannot be unseen. And once certain things are heard, they cannot be unheard. You got to protect your gates. That's all I got to say about that.
I mean, I like both what you're saying, and it's cool. I just want to give Dre B. Watson credit. She said it's Body by Denise and the RV Community Center. It's not in the community center, but still going on. And that's who I worked out with when we went there. So that is Body by Denise. That is, I know Sister Dre would be there because she lives in Rochdale, and it was big. Now, just getting back to it, I brought this up for a reason. And Jax, you jumped right where I wanted you. It's like I was playing chess and I maneuvered you to put you in checkmate. I really want, and I'll read Jessica's comment. The reason why I said, and if you listen to what I said, it's a friend to everybody. And Hanifa started off with the approach that I'm cool with it unless something goes wrong with it. You understand? I'm cool with it unless something goes wrong with it. Joe is right. There are certain things that we keep secret. That's why I said, where I was hanging with a friend, my feelings started to develop. Somebody lived in Rochdale. And I sat down with one of Hanifa's girlfriends and one of my friends, Val and Hanifa's girlfriend, Tammy. And I was like, I need to tell Hanifa, I need to tell her. Unfortunately, he found out another way, because I was trying to figure out, because I didn't want to hurt her, but I had to tell her, because like Joe said, the secrets, and it was eating at me. Yeah. It was eating at me. And Hanifa was picking up on certain things. She was like, back then I didn't get my nails done. You know, she said, you getting a haircut every week, this, that, and the other. So she picked up on signs of this. That's right. And I wanted to tell her because it was eating at me, but I also didn't want to hurt the person. So Joe is right. That's the reality part. That's the reality part. Of course, she did find out about that, but didn't find out the way I wanted to find out. But as y'all two would say, in God's time, she found out. You understand what I'm saying?
So question for you real quick. So when she found out, and you know, they always say hindsight is 20/20, was it worth it?
What you mean? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
I don't regret it. I'm sorry. Okay. I don't regret it, because me and Hanifa talked about it. And it's crazy that I hate, and I told Hanifa right off the bat, I didn't give her BS. I didn't say I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I told her, I'm sorry that this hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
And and I've mentioned this on the show, the craziest thing is that for the next 2 weeks, it enhanced our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And even though when I went, I didn't want Hanifa to tell me to cut the relationship off, the friendship off with the young lady. And when I went to the young lady's house to do that, she teared up, but she said she understood.
Mm-hmm.
But she said she did everything right because she respected Hanifa. She never crossed that line. We never crossed the line. But she said she did everything right because she said I was the only male friend because most males can't be friends with her.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? They want to jump in her pants.
And
they want to jump in her pants.
Right?
And we were really friends. We never crossed the line. And when I came back home and told Hanifa said, you know, I thought about it. Nah, y'all could remain friends. I called her, had Hanifa on speakerphone and let them talk because they already talked 2 days after Hanifa found out. Hanifa went in my phone and called her because they knew one another. Mm-hmm. So Hanifa had a talk with her. And when I woke up from a nap, Hanifa said, I spoke with her and I said, what did she say? I didn't jump and say, how did you get her? Well, I did ask how did you get her number. She said she went in my phone. I didn't jump up. I said, what did she say? She said her story works with your story. And we talked about some other things.
Yeah. But still, you say you don't regret it, but it's still.
I don't regret it, unfortunately. I don't.
Was it worth it? Right?
So hold on. Was it worth it? Was it worth it looking back now? Mm-hmm. Putting everything on the table and Hanifa says she was cool with it, it seems like she wasn't cool with it. Mm-hmm. And it ate at her and it came out later, I mean, years later, that it was something that really ate at her. But I'm going on what she's telling me because I was willing to cut it off because I didn't need her to tell me because I felt it was the right thing to do because I hurt her. And that to me was a violation. So since it was a violation, I take the responsibility. But she said, no, so-and-so. And they did things together. Hanifa met her grandmother and her grandmother had a relationship. You understand what I'm saying? So I thought things was cool till later on. And it was something that ate at her. So
exactly. So that's when you look at it, was it worth it? Right.
I mean, I didn't know first of all, the reason why I don't regret it because me and the young lady started as friends. We were really friends. Mm-hmm. So I can't regret the friendship. We're still friends today.
Yeah.
She's married. I know her husband. He's a real cool dude. I went to their wedding and everything. I went to their wedding. So me and you done talked about this because you know a little bit more in depth about this. So you know about this. But was it worth it? I mean, I hate that it caused the problems. Mm-hmm. I hate it caused the problems.
Yeah.
But it was somebody that, I'll be honest with you, helped me through tough times in life as well. You know?
So then from my point of view, I come back to, and I hate to put this out there, and for my non-believers, this is not for you. This is not for you. So if you're a non-believer, you don't believe in the word of God, this might be a good time for you to either put your mute button on or not listen to what I'm about to say. And for those who do believe in a higher power, in God's word, it says, you got to, in everything you do, measure the cost of a thing. Mm-hmm. And many times we don't measure a cost of a thing. And I've been guilty of it. I raised my hand. I've been guilty of it because of our own selfish needs and desires. I too have had a situation that once I tried to be very proactive because of the suits I wear, the jobs I do, the places I go. I run into, just like Fatim, all kind of beautiful women. Women from all shapes, sizes, colors, backgrounds, creeds, nations that are beautiful, and I had a doctor that I dealt with one time, Dr. Douglas. I can name her name, Dr. Douglas. And Dr. Douglas said, I took a picture and when I looked at the picture myself, I said, oh, snap, I got a little closer than I should have got here. Mm-hmm. And so before this picture got released, I spoke to my wife. I said, hey, I said, you know Dr. Douglas? And she said, yeah, I know Dr. Douglas. And in our conversation, my wife stopped me mid-conversation and said, before we say another thing, are you willing to put Dr. Douglas on the phone? Because maybe me and Dr. Douglas need to talk.
Go ahead, Tanika. Mm-hmm.
And it took me hold it. And I kind of was like, wait a minute. So I knew that was the standoff at the OK Corral right then and there. And I understood that my draw was late, much late, and bang, bang has already went and I'm already hitting the ground. So I just called Dr. Douglas right then and there. I said, "Hey, Dr. Douglas, how are you?" And she was like, "I'm fine. How are you?" Didn't even let her know I was in the room with mom. I said, "Hey," I said, "we need to talk. And I need to make sure that I'm not giving off the vibes that I'm interested in you, or you're not giving off the vibe that you're interested in me." Now, I didn't let her know my wife was in the room for a reason.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear her true and honest saying, because I said, maybe it's me. Maybe I am giving off these vibes. And she immediately said, "Well, Joe, you're a very handsome man. However, you're married. And I respect your marriage and your wife." I said, "Woo." Look, I took a major chance.
Yeah.
I took a major chance because she could have went a whole different direction. However, I had enough trust in if she had went a whole different direction, I wouldn't have stopped her, but I would have responded back with, "Hey, if I am guilty of giving you these vibes, let me apologize." Because that's not what I am. Because my wife told me, "You're very chatty, and sometimes your chattiness can be received as flirtatiousness."
Yeah.
Once she said that, I said, "Hey, Dr. Douglas," I said, "I have my wife here. I actually have you on speakerphone. Can I take you off speakerphone, pass the phone to her? I'm getting ready to take a long drive and let y'all talk." I left my phone with my wife. I was gone for 2 hours.
Wow.
And when I came back home, she looked me in the face and she told me, "Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to have a conversation." And then she checked me from 1 to 10 about what I was doing that I may not perceive as flirtatiousness,
Yeah.
but it can be perceived as flirtatiousness, and it's not an honoring or flattering thing to our marriage. And she made that. And once I saw that, I had to regroup and say to myself, "Wait a minute, this is my wife, the one that I swore to put nobody else in front of her. I got to be careful how I conduct myself in public places and spaces, because it can be perceived a certain way. And all of a sudden, women will test you. They're like, is he as happy as he say he is?
Yeah.
Let's see."
That's right.
So sometimes you got to, as a man, ask yourself in this thing called the chessboard of life, did I position myself to get put in checkmate?
Yeah.
Because you got to play this game to win, not this game to lose. And you have to honor your queen at every move. And that's the point. Honoring your queen is sometimes letting other women know, look, you got to check yourself. You ain't even got to let them know. You got to say, "Hold up. I don't need to be engaged in this conversation. I'm too chatty. It's going to be received a certain way. I don't need to say certain things. It's going to be received a certain way. I need to honor what I have at home." But, some folks can't control their flesh, period.
Right.
Just like some folks can't control their mouth. Some folks can't control. Some folks need to be connected. They got to be number one and on the heart of on the throne of everybody's heart. And some folks are just like that, men and women. Some women are that way. Some women gotta walk into the room and say to themselves, "Every man in this room wants me."
But Joe, there's some people, and I hear what you're saying. There's no disagreement with that, and I think back to some flamboyant people that were in happy marriages I'm dealing with, because I came from the men perspective, that have that persona about themselves. My brother Lenny Green, I've seen him in a relationship. He still had to be the ladies' man. He had to be the love, not the ladies' man. He had to be not only the ladies' man, he had to be the love man. That's his job. So,
but the question is Lenny married?
Right. That's why I said I've known him in a relationship. The bottom line is, if I was doing the Quiet Storm and was married, I still got to perform my job. And my persona is very important. Now, when somebody tries to cross the line, or I'm out and I introduce my wife. But there are some things that you tend to do that is part of your persona. Entertainers, Denzel Washington. I mean, he's happily married. But when he gets out there, he has the swag. That's him. And that's what I'm saying. Each his own. But it's also how and what you do in the security of your marriage. It's also the security of your marriage. I don't want to be part of somebody that I feel like I got somebody over me like that, and I don't want to be over them. I want to be able to trust them. And if I got a woman or a wife that is beautiful and creative, and she's into, let's say she's working in a big department store like Macy's or whatever, Saks Fifth Avenue, and she dealing with the customers, and she got to put a little bit of that, Gotta put a little of that sweetheart into it. Baby, do it. If we trust one another, do you? Because I want her to be sexy and sassy at times.
I agree with that, Brother Fatim. And look, I can give it from the point of view of the woman I'm married to right now, who is my second marriage. My wife is 10 years younger than me, and there was a time that my wife was very close to a person who had a lot more money than me, better physique than me, was an NFL player, better looking guy. You know, once again, that had nothing to do. My feeling about who she was with prior to me has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with me. And once again, you understand that, first of all, if you liked her because of her beauty, her charisma, her style, or whatever, you're not the only one out there that likes those things. And let me say this right here to everyone in the chat and everyone listening. There is a humongous difference. I didn't know this until lately, until some serious conversations I've had with other men at cigar bars and barbershops. There's a humongous difference between dating, a relationship, and a marriage.
Amen.
So let me not try to commingle those things and try to make you feel like you can do certain things you can do while you're dating is not certain things you can do when you're in a relationship. Damn sure ain't certain things you can do when you're in a marriage. So I'm going to put that clearly out there, because sometimes we try to commingle things for whatever reason. There's no commingling here.
Could I ask you this question? Because I totally, this is one for me, I totally disagree. If you're my girlfriend, if you're my fiance, or if you're my wife, I treat you the same. I don't treat you this. When you use the word difference, I know that, you know, in marriage, certain things happen. If something happens to me, you have the right to do this and that. But I'm saying treatment. I treat a girlfriend, a fiance, and a wife the same way. I give them the same respect. I don't decipher, this is my wife, and I go beyond. What I'm saying is that if I got some, I'm just asking for me from that perspective. I don't look at you differently. I love you. If I love you and I respect you, I treat you the same way. Because I say I do and put a ring on you, don't mean I'm going to take more or give less. I'm treating you like the queen you deserve to be treated. That's for me. I don't understand when we say that, because I disagree with that.
Would you die for your girlfriend?
Okay.
I die for my girlfriend, girl.
Okay.
I will. Because if I love her, I love the person. And I don't believe in the paper or a ring to justify my love for the person.
Okay, so once again, and Brother Fatim, I can in no shape, form, or fashion argue with anything you just said from the feelings standpoint of view. However, I wasn't talking about feelings. I was talking about
treatment.
Okay, treatment and feelings, however you want to call it, treatment, feelings, wherever you want to put the emotional part of this thing. I'm talking about the whole kit and caboodle, not just one side of this equation. It is a total different type of relationship when you're dealing with dating, in a relationship, and a marriage, and from multiple angles. And I ain't just talking about the emotional part of it. I'm not arguing with what you're saying, because probably from your point of view, and I can only say from my life experience and my point of view, you're right. I can say, man, I was in love with this girl when she was my girlfriend. I was in love with this girl when we were dating. I was in love with this girl if she became my wife. But watch this. Everybody I fell in love with or loved who was my girlfriend did not eventually become my wife.
That's right.
If so, I would have been in and out of and I'm just
asking about treatment. Okay. This treatment. Do you treat them different because once they become your wife and is your fiance or your girlfriend? I mean, is somebody like, I'm not talking about a girlfriend for 2 weeks. I'm talking about a girlfriend for 3 years or something like that.
Okay.
That you may have a child with, but you didn't say I do.
Okay, once again, I have that situation. Hold it. I
want to hear what your difference is.
So there's really, here's the thing. There's different levels, and you really don't know how to handle that level until you reach that level. I can give that clearly. My first love, who is the mother of my oldest child, we had certain levels we achieved, certain places we got to emotionally, treatment wise, that we got to, but we never got to the place of marriage. So I can earnestly say that my ex-wife and my current wife have experienced me as a husband, which my first love, who is the mother of my oldest son, never experienced me as a husband, never experienced me being the accountable and responsible individual from the standpoint of this is my wife. Understand there is different levels in this thing. And so, in my opinion, I'm not saying what I do is for you, brother Fatim. It has worked for me, and I understand that. First of all, you know, folks just need to understand from my point of view and from my opinion that there's different levels. And like I said, we cannot commingle from the whole total picture, dating, relationship, and marriage, because they are three different levels where different things are required from me to you and from you to me in order for me in my world for this to work the way it needs to work and for us to be functional and not dysfunctional. I understand one size does not fit all in this situation, and I'm only speaking for myself and the journeys of life that I've been through. I have treatment wise, I have always tried to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, regardless of what the title or position was. Sometimes what I had to realize is everybody ain't Joe. My good friend James Vincent came on here and I think one day told you that, look, man, that's just the way that brother is. Yeah. Right. Sometimes people are just the way you are. And here's the biggest problem we make. We expect us out of other folks when other folks ain't us, and what we're getting from them will never be us. So you just have to understand what level it is, where you're at, and how you move forward. Treatment wise, I always go into any relationship with trying to treat people at the level and the standard that I want to honor them. I want to treat them correctly and fairly, and I want to be right. No matter what level we're on, there's not a different level of treatment, but there is a different level. There is a different level of accountability and responsibility.
So let me just say this, because I want Jax to come in. Let me read Laura, because Laura understands exactly what I'm saying. Thank you, Laura, and I'm thanking you, Laura. Laura says, that's what I love about you, beautiful brother Fatim. Your respect in women is phenomenal. This is why I love you. You know how to treat a woman with respect and not limited boundaries. She said the word I'm talking about. Boundaries. I don't put boundaries on love for a person. What Jessica said about like, I'm not dealing with like, I'm dealing with love. And I don't put boundaries. Let me just finish. Boundaries on a woman that is my girlfriend, a woman that is my fiance, or a woman is my wife. If I love you, I respect you, and I go 100 miles on all of them. I don't care about a paper or a ring. I'm still there 100%. Go ahead, Sister Jax.
So you know what? So it's interesting, the word boundaries. Boundaries is key in so many areas, right? But when you really look at the whole scheme of things, you do create boundaries, right? Because you didn't decide to make every woman that you loved your wife, right? So you set boundaries, and there were limits to that. So being that you fell in love with whatever lady and didn't say, you know what, I want to commit to you for the rest of my life, that was your boundary. We're not crossing that line. I don't love you enough to make you my wife. So I do have boundaries, but I think sometimes we don't realize that when we're in the midst of it. So of course you're supposed to treat a woman with love and kindness and respect when you're dating her or courting her or doing whatever you're doing. But once you're married, there's still a different level. It's like leveling up to a different gear or a different level in life. Everybody, you can still treat everybody nice, but when it's that one, you're going to treat her different. You should treat her different or treat him different. It's not going to be the same, right? It's like Joe said, like it's different levels to it. So we just have to just be honest enough with ourselves to realize that no, everybody's not getting the same exact treatment, because guess what? When you're just dating somebody or somebody's your fiance, there's an easy out. You could be like, you know what, I don't want to do this no more. And you could be like, you know what, this ain't working out. Let's just break up, right? If you in marriage, if you decide to do that, there's so much more at stake. Right? There might be property, there might be children, there might be, accounts commingled, a bunch of other stuff. And not to say you can't have that stuff with somebody that you're not married to, but divorce is way deeper than just saying, I don't think we should be together anymore.
So that's why a lot of people are not getting married. Jax, you know more than anybody on this, pretty much this podcast. And there's no difference between Taliba and Hanifa. You understand? And if I'd have put some difference there because of a certain situation, then I wouldn't have been true to who I am. So I don't, and this is one thing I don't like about American society, of how the situation is set up about divorce. I don't like that, because if don't make it difficult for us to end. Make it reasonable so that everybody can survive. That's what I'm thinking about. And I think that the same way, and that's why I'm saying there are people that are not married, that are commingling together, that live better than some married people. And we put so much emphasis on the word marriage that we forget about the relationship part. And that's all I'm saying, that for me, I don't elevate. I understand that is my wife, and I understand, but that, for me to treat a woman, because I didn't marry her, don't mean that boundary. Everybody's not married material. But that don't limit how I treat that woman and the respect I give that woman. Because wait, because I marry her don't make her better than those women that I didn't marry. It doesn't make it better because of the treatment.
Nobody said that.
Jackson saying boundaries, that I didn't marry her. That's a boundary that I didn't marry. But if I decide to marry a person, it doesn't take away how I treat a girlfriend, fiance, or a wife. I treat them all the same. That's what I'm saying.
And Brother Fatim, and look, not to make this a point of who's right, who's wrong, or make it argumentative. At the end of the day, it's only to the individuals who you've been in a relationship with that can really speak to this. Unfortunately, everybody who could speak to this isn't able to speak to this because of the will of the Most High. It's just like with my situation. Would I be willing to sit my older son's mother, my ex-wife, and my current wife in the same room with each other, or put them on the screen and say, y'all speak to the people about how y'all feel about Joe? And I promise you, they would all tell you how I treated them. But if you microcosm it and look at it through a close analysis, you'll say, well, Joe kind of treated each one a little bit different. That's why each one has a certain feeling about Joe in a certain manner. Not saying that.
Why did you treat him differently? Why did you treat him differently, Joe?
Hold on.
Why you just said you treated them each differently? Why?
Fatim, if you would allow me to speak.
Okay. But I'm just saying, I want to zero in on what you just said. Brother, I don't want you to go farther off.
No,
you said I treated. Okay, go ahead.
Oh, brother, I'm going to answer it. Brother Fatim, I didn't treat them no differently, but their perception of how I treated them. Once again, sometimes, Brother Fatim, you jump in to be right. I'm jumping in trying.
I'm not jumping in to be right. I'm asking a question. I'm asking a question.
The question is the perception.
I'm not jumping in to be right. I'm asking a question. You made a statement.
Listen. The perception of the treatment. I said, if you had all three of them on here, you listen to them, you'll say, well, it sounds like Joe treated each one a little differently. I don't believe I treated them differently. It's not how I treated them, it's how they received the treatment. And sometimes it's the receiving of a thing, not how, because you could be sitting there going, I love everybody the same. I treat everybody the same. But
that's a true statement.
But if you talk to those individuals, guess what? If you put all 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, however, in the same room, I promise you, if you sit in the middle and listen, you'll be like, wait a minute, I didn't treat you like that. But it's not how you treated them, it's how they received the treatment. And that, my friend, is the inherent point where a lot of people miss it. Because what you're saying is absolutely right. I ring the bell, I give a round of applause, I give the bell. You perceive that you treat everybody the same, that you love them the same, that there is no difference between a girlfriend, a relationship, or a wife. That's how you see it. But my next question. But the question is, if we sit those folks that you've had a relationship, a girlfriend.
You made that point. I'm asking this. You said that point. What if you do sit them down and they all agree you treated them like the queens they were? Then what's the problem? You treated them all. If their perception is we all sit down, Joe is a gentleman. Joe treated me like our queen. He respected me. He was truthful, and they all pretty much agree. A little bit here and there, a little different, but they all agree. Then that perception becomes both of y'all reality because you thought that you treated them well, and they agreed you treated them well.
I'm not saying this to put it to the negative or to the positive. You're right. Either way could go.
It could go either way. That's all I want to put in this equation. That's it.
Hold it. At the end of the day, no matter how you can put the hypotenuse of how it may go, until it is tried and you actually get the end result, you don't know. And nor do I know. All I know
then don't spend it negative. Okay. Then don't spend it negative. I'm not put both out there.
No. I'm spending it from a reality point. My reality, in my opinion, is this. I believe I treat everybody at the same level. I'm like you. I believe that if I loved you as a girlfriend, it's similar, if not the same love. Love is love. However, me giving it out may not be the way it was received or perceived, because if you talk to a girlfriend and a wife, or a person that a short-term girlfriend or a long-term girlfriend, or you talk to a wife or an ex-wife, they may sit down and say, I can tell you all the good things about Joe, but let me tell you a few things that I had a disagreement with. I don't think anybody's going to come and give you the same story every time. If so, it would surprise me. And not saying that couldn't happen, not saying that could happen good or bad, but I don't think everybody's going to give you the same story. And once again, it's not what you give out, it's how it is received and how it is perceived. Sister
That's
Jack.
right. And Joe, even with that, when there are disagreements that arise in a relationship, when you're in a marriage and you're serious about your marriage, you're more committed to working it out. When that's just your boyfriend or your girlfriend, for instance, my husband has had, several relationships prior to me that he was, in love and all of that stuff. My husband has 2 quote unquote baby mamas, right? But I'll be damned if he loves me the same way he loved them. I'm his wife. There needs to be a different level. So I've had other boyfriends as well prior to him. So and I'm not to love my husband the same exact way I love my boyfriends, because everybody's different and it's a different level of love. So if I'm trying to go now, especially according to scripture does not tell me to be, about being evenly yoked with my boyfriend. It's telling me to be evenly yoked with my husband, right? It's telling me that I'm supposed to love him in a certain way. He's supposed to love me in a certain way. So it's a whole different ball game. A marriage is more of a spiritual thing. You can still have what you feel as a spiritual connection with someone, a boyfriend.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, no, I
disagree with that.
And that's fine. That's fine. But we still know that although you disagree, it doesn't make it fact. Right.
So
yeah, I mean, yes, it does make it fact, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because there are people who are not putting their whole thing in the biblical that are spiritually yoked as well, Jax. So that is a fact. It's not just an opinion; it is a fact.
But even if you take that, Fatine, like there's still, like the word you say, it's still boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Because
no, but you made a statement that you said is spiritually because of the biblical. You cannot sit there and say that somebody that is not in that light is there. And I'm not there. I believe in the Bible. But what I'm saying is, I don't need to get into the biblical part. You got to be careful how you make those statements, because it isolates people, and then it's a false narrative, because there's people that don't walk in that light are still can be spiritually connected. I told you before that you can be spiritually not religious.
And you know what, honestly, honestly, and that's fine. Brother. But I know what I stand. I know what I stand on.
What you stand on, correct?
So I'm not going to denounce what I stand on because it makes somebody.
No, I didn't say denounce it, but don't denounce other people that don't walk like you neither.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, so let's say something that was said to me about a week ago. I was sitting in the press box, and a pastor was getting ready to pray over the game. And this pastor said something, I don't even know the pastor's name, but he said something that blessed my soul. He said, every spirit ain't a good Holy Spirit.
Right.
You're right. There are spirits out there that are evenly yoked because they are evenly yoked as bad spirits. And every spirit ain't a good and Holy Spirit. And we have to look at it from the point of spirituality, not always being holy or good spirituality, because there are people out there with bad spirits that link up with other folks with bad spirits, and they together with both their bad spirits begin to spread doom and gloom in their own way, which makes them, because doom and gloom to them is functionality, not dysfunctionality, and
Yeah.
happiness. So once again, it's all about, I hate to say this, but I'm glad I am saying it at 16 minutes past the hour. It's really about perception and how you see a thing from your point of view. Because what might be right to Jax might be wrong to Joe, might be wrong to Fatim, and vice versa, or to someone in the chat. What's right to us in the chat might be wrong to somebody else in the chat, or vice versa. At the end of the day, it's respecting people's points of view from their point of view, but standing firm, as Jack said, on what you believe in.
Yeah.
That's
All
it.
right. Now, let me just say this here. So I'll tell you this. I look at my first wife, Taliba, and I look at Hanifa. Hanifa, even though me and Hanifa were together longer, Hanifa got more out of me than Taliba got. I respected Taliba, but I was also younger. Wasn't as wise because I haven't experienced certain things. Trial and error. We got married at 23.
Wow.
Me and Hanifa didn't get together till 28. So for me, I was wet behind the ears, experience with women.
Dang, and you
On
had
a
just
relationship
lost your
point.
virginity not long before that, Fatim.
College,
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
college,
Yeah,
yeah.
wow.
So yeah, and so I still gave my all. So this fits into what Joe narrative is. I still treated her with respect and this, that, and the other. The difference is Hanifa got more, but Hanifa got more out of me because I was a little bit more seasoned, more wiser. But she got more out of me because of what she gave me. What she gave me and who she was. To see somebody that had a good spirit and then to have to suffer from an illness and still be able to put a smile or concerned about me, concerned about them girls while she's in the hospital, don't know if she will make it to the next day. You know what when a person is humble, and when you see that, it touches your soul and it elevates you. That's what growth is. So Joe is right. That's why this is why we have these questions. And yeah, Joe, sometimes I go hard, but just like a teacher, we go hard because I want to pull something out, because you're right. I treated both women with respect. But if you sit them down, if Hanifa was alive and you said, she got much more out of me, even though it was a longer period, she still got much more out of me because they were two different women. And one got more out of me because I saw not only her potential, but she tapped into my potential and made me see certain things and respond to certain things. And as I was responding, because I was also growing at the time.
So Brother Fatim, let me bless you with something on this from my opinion about love. You know, many a times when we talk relationships, I tell people, you really want to know a man's heart, sit down and talk to his kids, especially if his kids, regardless if his kids are from the same mother or from multiple mothers. Sit down. You want to do something that's a challenge? I had this done. My therapist made me do this when I went through my first divorce. I had to sit down with all my children collectively and ask them, how do you see me as a father? Now, mind you, I have, out of my 5 children, 1 adopted, 4 biologicals, 2 are from the same mother. Each one of my children had a different perception on how I was as a father. Though if you ask me, baby, I'm doing the same for all of them. I'm giving the same. Once again, I think this is a great, healthy conversation, because many times we as people of color miss this. It's 20 minutes past the hour. We miss that we feel that we're doing right. But the question is, how is the person on the receiving end receiving what we're doing and what we're giving? And because, and this is the difference between sometimes functionality and dysfunctionality. If I am doing something that you don't like, but I think I'm doing right, am I doing what's right for you? Because you're the person receiving it. And if you're receiving it and you go, oh my God, I hate this every time they do this. For a prime example, if a person tells you, I can't stand roses, but for whatever reason, you feel like it's right to give roses, even though some women would jump up and say, ooh, I see them beautiful dozens of roses that you get. If you are allergic to roses, don't like roses, that's just like with me, with certain allergies I have with food. I have a hell of a chef in my house.
Mhm.
But she ain't gonna make me no shrimp etouffee if she love me. Because if she love me and she
Throat
makes some
close
shrimp,
up.
right? She know there's gonna be an EpiPen, a hospital visit. But here's the thing: her etouffee, her shrimp etouffee is outstanding. So I've heard,
Mm.
but I don't know because I'm not. Guess what? If she says I'm making this out of love, but it's not for me, I'm just saying. We've got to look at things from the receiver end instead of the giver's end all the
I
time.
think you got to look
Many a
at it.
time
You
we-
got to look
many
at
times
it
look
from
from the giver's
you got to
end.
look at it from. I think you got to look at it from both ends. And I give you another scenario. My cousin, grown man, kids. When he died, when he passed, he lived in Columbia, South Carolina. He was his own man. He died with we call his wife. Can't be a bigamist if you're married to somebody in. He died married to his first wife. He never got that divorce.
Mm.
Never got that divorce. For why, I don't know. When he died, the first wife who was passed, I'll just save their names, was a great person. My mother loved that first wife, but still respected my cousin who's a grown man with the woman he was with. That first wife could have stepped in when he died. Stepped in when he died and called the shots. But the kind of woman she was, she understood that their relationship was over. They just didn't get a divorce. She respected that woman. She respected that woman that they lived like a couple, husband and wife. You understand how he introduced her? He most likely didn't say, "This is my girlfriend," at that age, because they were together for a while, even though he was still married. He didn't treat that woman no different. That's what I'm saying. It could be right or wrong. The bottom line is there's a lot of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't take away because he was with that woman that he didn't love her, respect her, and treat her like a wife, even though he was still married to another woman that he hadn't dealt with for years. That was the mother of majority of his kids.
And you
Hold
know
it.
what's
Hold on, Sister Jax.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you go. We have to also understand, because many a time we try to mumble jumble and gumbo this thing. We try to put everything in the pot, and everything does go in the pot, but everything goes in the pot in a certain order and a certain understanding. When we talk about this, there is a difference between what you consider right, what is morally right,
Mm-hmm.
and what is legal.
Legally
See,
right.
legal
Yeah.
right and all that. See, and that's the point. Many a times we're talking from a place and people go, "Yeah, I see that," but they don't understand if that's legal. Like, for example, in some states, it's legal to marry somebody who's 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's legal for you to marry a 16-year-old without no parental consent or anything. It's legal. Does it mean that it's moral or it's right from our point of view? Maybe, maybe not.
Well, I'm
Depends
not
on how
talking
you
about the morality of this, or I'm just giving you the scenario that wasn't hit when he died. The woman that he lived with, like his wife, they were not legally married, but he still treated each other
Right.
as husband and wife. And that's why I say, don't you sit here sometimes trying to put boundaries on girlfriend, fiance, and wife. And some people don't decipher it like that, because
don't.
we tend to put boundaries on it because we look at it, this is the way it's supposed to go, husband and wife. And I'm keep telling you, that's from a biblical point of view, or a standard that man made up, or a biblical, like I said, biblical or man, however you want to look at it. But everybody don't follow that way. And that don't mean that they are wrong. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Yeah,
Hold
that's
on.
all I'm
Watch
saying.
this.
You know what-
And I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go to Jax.
Mhm.
But even
Yeah, well, let
Fatima,
Jack
and
say,
I'm-
man, because we keep going back and forth. Let her in.
No.
No,
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 It's
let
25
her in,
minutes
Joe.
past.
Because we and you
Wait,
been
I am.
volleying.
Hold on.
He gotta get his
Hold
thought
on.
out.
I got to get this off. Just like you sometimes have to get yours off.
Yeah, but still,
Even-
I tell let her come right behind me.
Hold on, bro. Even throughout the world, regardless if it's a harem or different civilizations, there's always that individual who is the head. Even if there's multiple women's in a relationship, there's always that one person that is the head woman, that is the head of household. That's all I'm saying. That's just not, that's even in the Bible. Even if there's multiple women in the Bible, there's one that's the one, Everybody else kind of falls into whatever responsibility.
The wife and the concubines. That's what it is. Where are you going? Where are you going with this though? Where are you going with it?
So look, Fatin, like this whole thing makes me think about how, you know, marriage is honorable, right? So guess what? Even with your, you know, unfortunate situation in your family when the brother died, guess who gets everything, right? His wife. In terms of his pension, you know, Social Security, his legal wife on paper, the first one still gets all of that. So then what happens many times when there is a funeral, in the obituary to say his longtime partner or his longtime friend or, you know, girlfriend or something like that. But like you said, he more than likely introduced her as, you know, maybe his wife, because you get older, you don't want to say girlfriend and, you know, stuff like that. But that even goes to show how there is a difference in levels, because otherwise it wouldn't matter at what age you just say my girlfriend, you know. But
the legal part, but that doesn't deal with the treatment. Remember, this conversation didn't deal with legalities. We talked about treatment between you and I started this conversation off. Why do we decipher how we treat a girlfriend, a fiance, and a wife? Not the legal system, we treat. Exactly. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. So outside of the legal system, when you look at how he introduced the girlfriend, for the most part, as his wife, right? That's not the legal system side of it. It's because he knows that there's a distinction between this is my girlfriend versus this is my wife type of thing, right? So although they did not have any papers, you know, on one another, he still knew that, you know, there's a difference between just a regular girlfriend. I don't want to just call you my regular girlfriend because I want to do something different with you.
It gives a little bit more respect to the couple. Gotcha. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Exactly. And then we have to understand that men hold the keys to marriage, right? It's not that often where you'll hear like a woman proposing to a man and all that type of stuff. Men, when they know this is the one, they're going to ask that one to marry them for the most part, right? So they are able to identify right there. There's something different about her. There's something special about her. I want to spend my life with her, figuring this journey of life out. But I don't want to do it with nobody else but her. Like I said, otherwise there will be so many marriages, because I mean, even I think of how many different relationships I had been in and out of from teenage years to adulthood, right? So no, all those guys, you know, I didn't marry. I didn't marry them, you know, and they didn't marry me, right? Although we've talked about it and stuff like that, but I still knew like, you're more, I love you, like I'll respect you. You love me, you respect me, but this is more like a boyfriend thing. Husband thing, that's a different level, right? So men hold the key to marriage, and women have to accept or decline. And so I still say that, you know, there's a difference.
So, Brother Fatim, let me say this. Let's say this, and this is something I've seen happen with my own eyes. I had also a relative like your relative that was married to the first wife, never got divorced, was in a long relationship, actually a 35-year relationship with the person that he transitioned and went to glory with. The person he was with a 35-year relationship with, he had 4 children with. First wife, he didn't have no children with. He had accumulated a life insurance policy at X amount of dollars. Now, once again, to me, love is an action word. It's not just a word you say. It's not just conversation. It's what, you know, you got to show me sometimes that you love me. This life insurance policy that he had accumulated, because he didn't have a living will or anything. And once again, many a times we get into relationships and we don't think about the ripple effects of what happens when we're gone. Because real love says, I want everybody to be the best they can be once I'm gone. His first wife got that entire insurance policy, not his children, not the one that he was with for 35 years. That first wife, and because of whatever bitterness or whatever.
But he could have changed that, Joe. He could have changed. It's not automatic. You can change the beneficiary of a life insurance. It's not automatically goes to the wife. You can change that.
Right. And I agree with that. But guess what? Many a times, Brother Fatim, and what I'm trying to put out there in the atmosphere is many a times in this thing called life, love, and lifing, you just love and you assume, just like he assumed. You know, many times we as men and women, we don't look at what happens when we transition on. What did we leave? Did we leave peace and tranquility, or did we leave chaos and confusion? And
Mhm.
sometimes, not all the time, because of us just loving and lifing, we don't look at what we leave behind, and we leave behind chaos and confusion. And that's not from a marriage point of view. That's not from a relationship point of view. That's from a point of view. If you say you love me, why would you leave me in a place of chaos and confusion when you transition on?
So let me just say this as an example. My beneficiary started off my mother.
Mm.
Next one became my wife. The next one became my aunt after I got the divorce. After my aunt, me and Hanifa got together, it became Hanifa. Once Hanifa transitioned, it became my kids. I made sure that each stage there was a change. I also made the change.
Absolutely.
See, and everybody
Are you
don't do
right?
that, Brother Fatim. Everybody don't do that. Unfortunately, let me say that very clearly. Unfortunately, I applaud you.
Mhm.
But everybody
Yeah,
don't
because I
do
had
that,
to make
Brother
the change when
Fatim.
my
Hold
mother
it.
passed. I
Hold
gave
it.
it to my aunt, and then I gave it to
and women don't.
Hanifa.
Hold it. Men and
I
women
gave
don't
it
do
to
that.
Hanifa
Sometimes,
before we did any legal legalities or anything. You
right.
understand? Because she's the
Sometimes,
mother of my
sometimes,
children, and
Mhm.
sometimes
Mhm.
women don't even do that. Watch this. You'll be surprised how many women leave nothing but utter chaos if they transition on and don't have certain things in place.
That's
They
right.
leave chaos to the children and to the father of the children if that father is not the husband.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
better yet, if the husband happens to be not the father. There's, hey, I see it. And many a times, if we say we love folks, we got to look into, regardless of what paper is in place saying our level of love, girlfriend, relationship, boyfriend, we got to say to ourselves, what happened? Something happened to me today. What's going to happen to my children? What's going to happen to
Mhm.
this person I love?
Mhm.
I laugh because Joe and Jax, what did y'all want to talk about today?
I
I
know,
know
right?
this was gonna go like this. I just thought of this question.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
what do y'all want to talk about today?
You
Oh,
know
we
what?
got to
I
get
mean, it's
off
a
this one. This kind of getting hot up in here.
Yes, right.
It's amazing how things take a spin. I didn't come to the table with this. I had nothing on my mind because I really want to finish the conversation, but I don't want to go there now because the energy is different. But I want to finish the conversation because Jax wasn't here about that video yesterday. But I always tell you, we think we're gonna go to something the next day, and some. Wait a minute, where's our book guy?
He wasn't able to make it today, brother. He wasn't able to make it
You
today.
didn't
He let me
inform
know.
us of what's going on.
No, he did. He did. And guess what? He did last minute things happen. That's life.
Oh
Life
yeah, we don't
be
have a problem. I just said you didn't inform us at 10
like,
o'clock or a little
yeah,
after
yeah,
10.
yeah. Life be life. And you know, hey, speaking of which, man, like I tell people, the phone lines are always open. We put out there the link where you can jump in. I think a lot of time folks just want to be entertained. Speaking about
Exactly.
entertainment, like Gladiator, which Gladiator 2 is getting ready to come out. And I am definitely going to go and be entertained. And I think Denzel is going to do a great job. So, you know, one thing I do want to talk about, and I'm going to throw it out there right now at 35 minutes past the hour.
Before you throw it out, Joe, real quick, I actually have to run. I'm behind schedule.
Okay,
Yeah, so I just gotta hurry up and run. So I won't
do
be
your
able
thing.
to
You
log
running?
in.
You gonna run?
I ain't really running, but dang, am I
Oh,
in a
okay.
rough
I
one?
just
But
checking.
yeah, it was a rough one.
Checking.
It was a rough one this morning. But yeah, so anyway, I love y'all. I gotta go. I gotta handle some very important business. So if nobody told you today they love you, y'all know who loves you, your girl Jax. Jax loves you. Be safe until tomorrow, Lord's will. I'll see you then. Peace
All right,
out.
Jack.
Come on
And
now.
prayers, y'all, because I'll be on the road. I got to get to Massachusetts to get my baby. So prayers
Be
for
safe,
traveling
Jack.
grace for me and my husband. And
You should be
the
doing it from the hotel room because you're going tonight. But I ain't starting.
baby. Shut up. Ain't nobody going tonight. I'm
Well,
going in a
you
couple of
should.
hours.
You should. Since you're thinking about making babies, maybe in a different environment. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's the environment
Okay.
we
All
need.
right.
Shut up.
Mhm.
Be quiet, Fatih. All right. Catch y'all later. All right,
All
gotta
right.
run.
Bye. So, Brother Fatim, somebody brought up very early in the show, because I had brought up that at the beginning of the year, I won't be here. And you'll be in control. You will be in control for the first 4 months of the
We gonna
show.
ride, y'all. We gonna ride.
Hey,
Get ready.
bro. what? You're gonna do what you do, because once
We're
again,
gonna ride.
I didn't create this show to elevate me. I created this show that anybody can sit in this seat and run this show, because I believe in us as a people, and I believe that I don't have to be the HNIC in order for stuff to happen. And I've always believed that. That's just how I was raised. That's who I am. And I'm gonna let brother Fatim. And if brother Fatim wasn't here, somebody else could do it. At the end of the day, this was built for the people, and the
We're gonna ride.
people need folks who are able to sit in, and be it brother Fatim, be it a Ravis Martinez, be it another female, be it somebody in the chat that says, look, I want to come in, I want to get on every morning and give you 2 hours of good conversation and talk about what I feel needs to be talked about. Once again, this show was made to tell you to think, not what to think or how to think. And we may not always agree. We may not always see things the same way. But guess what?
Casey said sex education for 4 straight months.
Hey, when I come back, whatever brother Fatim has established, guess what? I'll be like, hey, this in 2025,
Ooh.
this is the house that brother Fatim built. And I respect my brother. Brother Fatim has been an engine. Listen, just because you start a certain way don't mean that's not where you need to be. A
Ain't
lot of
nothing
folks don't
changing.
know.
Ain't nothing changing. Ain't nothing changing.
We
I'm gonna have
laugh.
some surprise guest hosts and stuff like that. But other than that, it'd be
I'm gonna make y'all laugh. I started off, brother Fatim talks about the quiet storm. When I was, and brother James Vincent came on here and told y'all, when me and James were in high school, we were running a major radio station in Tennessee. To be exact, we competed so hard with the big boys as high schoolers. That's how I got to meet Clarence Thomas. Clarence came personally down. He said, man, I want to see these can't be kids. These can't be kids y'all got on the radio. Bobby OJ came down and said, bro, I'm taking you underneath my wing. We had major players that came and watched us as high schoolers. We were going to high school, doing part-time jobs, and then me and James were doing overnight shifts at the radio station during the quiet storm. And true enough, back in them days, it's a heavy responsibility for a young mind with a voice going, it's 14 minutes after 5, and here comes the deal. And you got little girls and old women too calling down, man, boy, your voice is a mom, So hey, family, all I can say is this journey of life has been a journey. I say that as I think about my brother, and I need to post this picture again, brother Sugar Bear. Enjoy this thing called life, because I got a lot of great memories of my life, good, bad, and indifferent. But I know this. I'm not the same man I was in my 20s, now in my 50s. I'm pretty sure when I get in my 60s, I won't be the same man. And I'm sure if when I'm in my 70s, my 80s, my 90s, or to the day that the Most High calls me home, I'm going to try to live my best life. And as I read the book, and I just really love this book, I'm telling y'all, if y'all want to go get a book, I know we ain't got the book guy here today, but this is the book to get right here. This is the book to get right here. This imparts a lot of wisdom. It's a great read. It is a great read of understanding a journey that is bigger than yourself, a journey that builds more than just you, builds your community, builds your culture, and puts people in a place where they feel that they are a part of this journey that you have been on, from a place of you including them to make life better for them. So
I got something.
20 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's go.
All right, so folks, I'm jumping ahead on this one, but Jax is not here, so I'm gonna make. I don't know if I want to jump ahead this early, but I'll jump ahead. So
don't do it.
First of all, so I'm jumping. No, I'm jumping ahead because this fits with not Jax being here, because she's not into the Christmas thing. So after Thanksgiving, we're gonna implement. I don't like saying something we don't do. We're gonna implement that music thing. I want to know from folks. I'm trying to make this interesting. I want to know what movie song. I mean, a movie where a soundtrack was bumping, just hitting, or a song from a movie that touched you, that you remember. Let's deal with that. Because I was going to go out there and say, But it's not, it's Thanksgiving, because I was going to jump ahead and say, you know, what is one of those Christmas songs that you tend to play? I happened to see a thing on Mariah Carey, and she started saying, her kids are around her, and she's like, no, mommy, it's too early. And she said, but I'm only doing a few bars, you know, and there's certain Christmas songs. So if you want to put out there so something touch you, but that's kind of down the road, because we haven't gotten to Thanksgiving yet. But what is there, a soundtrack or a song from a movie or even a television show that touches you? When I use the word touches you, you remember, or it enhanced the movie. For instance, for me, I'll look at, I can go to two movies straight off the bat. I'm going back, but Superfly and Shaft, great soundtracks. And it's crazy. Me and one of my DJs, Bugsy at WBLS now, but he worked all three stations, Hot 97 and Kiss FM as well. We talked about, he asked the question on the radio, which soundtrack was better? Superfly, done by the late Curtis Mayfield, or Shaft, done by the late
everybody swear to God I'm his son. Everybody swear to God I'm Curtis's son.
So at the time, I jumped out right off the back and said Superfly. So then Bugsy said, I don't know, Fatigue. And we played track after track after track. I still stayed with Superfly, but Shaft was better than I thought, even though I know what Isaac Hayes did with that theme. Crazy. Right, Isaac won a Grammy and an Oscar for the movie. Yeah, the sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So I want to know. And also, was it Not Do the Right? Let's Do It Again. That's another great sound. The Staple Singers. Yeah. But Joe, what is the soundtrack out there for you, bro?
The first album I bought, and I have vinyl here at my house. I have a whole room dedicated to vinyl. I just never show my vinyl collection. But the first soundtrack I bought, vinyl, I remember it well. It was Saturday Night Fever.
The Bee Gees.
That was the first, and I was very much, I was very blessed that PJ Morton from New Orleans, who is Bishop Paul Morton's son, allowed me, as he was doing his Gumbo Unplugged album, I actually sit in the studio when he remade Bee Gees' How Deep Is Your Love on that Gumbo Live soundtrack, which just brought back nothing but memories. That was one of the first soundtracks I bought. I also had the soundtrack from Beat Street. I remember that. I had that. I think Beat Street was the next album I bought that was a soundtrack. Beat Street and
that's hip hop breakdancing, y'all.
Right. And I had the soundtrack from Do the Right Thing, School Days. I would buy soundtracks often. I had all the Star Wars soundtracks. That's when I started really getting into classical music. I've been a music head all my life. My dad was big on some Miles Davis and some Coltrane and also the individual.
For movies. Coltrane, I don't remember movies.
Yeah. Isaac Hayes, who was from Memphis, Tennessee. You know, another person I had the privilege and the honor of meeting. And it was just like, you know, wow, you know, this is Isaac Hayes.
And you talking about meeting him? I worked with this brother. We taking the train together. And, you know, I mean, Isaac and Mtume in the same studio, and then guess who walks in? Ashford and Simpson walks in the studio, and I'm sitting here like, because Ashford and Simpson worked for Kiss FM. Isaac worked for Kiss FM. Barry White was the voice of Kiss FM at the same time. Imagine that, bro. Imagine that kind of legacy. My daughter played with Ashford and Simpson's daughter while they did the 4 to 8 shift while Frankie Crocker was on BLS doing the 4 to 8 shift.
Well, you know,
that's New York radio, baby.
And what BLS was to New York, WDIA was to Memphis, Tennessee with the great late Clarence Thomas. And like I said, I started off, you know, me and James Vincent, and you can actually go back and look. There was a few newspaper articles, you know, young high school brothers in radio. And, you know, I worked with Bobby OJ at K97. I worked at WDIA and sit down under Clarence Thomas, Stax Records. You know, Stax Records is right around the corner. there was a lot of great stuff with the Barcades and other great people. Drake's dad, I called him Mr. G for the longest. I didn't even know it was Drake's daddy until, God bless my dad's soul, who has passed on, my biological dad. When I first met my biological dad, Mr. G, and I knew he was a Graham, but I didn't know he was Drake's daddy. He would be over at my dad's house and they would be chopping it up about, the good old days in Memphis 10. And it was just, it was different. I never worked with Isaac. I did see him at the radio station a few times, and I did see him in Memphis a few places. He always remembered me. He's like, yeah, that's that young party roller skating dude. Because we used to do parties at the Crystal Palace and at the local radio stations and at some of the local venues, and we had a great time. Soundtracks. I loved soundtracks. I love the soundtrack from Antoine Fisher. There was certain, I tell you another good soundtrack that a lot of people paid no attention to. It was Spike Lee Clockers. Clockers. That soundtrack with Shaka Khan, Love You Still, was still to this day, I listen to that song and I almost go to tears every time I hear the song Love You Still from the Clocker soundtrack. To be exact, I will probably end the show today with that song from the Clocker soundtrack. Yeah.
There's one song. I got a couple. Oh yeah, but I'm looking for something specific, and I'm gonna get it before the end of the show. Here goes some soundtracks. I'll give you some soundtracks. New Jack City, hell of a soundtrack. Purple Rain. Oh, yeah. Purple Rain, hell of a soundtrack. Woo, Car Wash. One hell of a soundtrack there. Claudine. Who? Come on, Gladys Knight. Claudine. The Best Man. Very good soundtrack. Multiple artists. Above the Rim. Multiple artists. Yeah. Waiting to Exhale. Another great soundtrack. Oh, what can we say about Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard?
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good, but there's a specific soundtrack, and I'm going to get it now. I have to look it up because I have to look up the artist that was in the movie, and I have to look up another movie that he was in to get his. Oh yeah, I got it. Lawrence, what's his name? Tate, the actor.
Love Jones. Love Jones.
That's another great. That's another great soundtrack.
Super soundtrack.
Another great soundtrack. But let me read a couple of comments because I did put out about the Christmas song. Marcus Allen say, what do the lonely do at Christmas? That was a Christmas song. Santa Claus is a black man, or I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. Sammy Davis, my brother Sammy Davis says, we call him Mr. Sammy. Excuse me, Mr. Sammy. But it's Sammy Davis in the chat. Silent Night. Casey, my memory is too bad for this question. That damn shame. Oh, Jessica Dewberry. Great one. Grease was one of the first movie soundtracks that I remember having. Grease was an interesting soundtrack. Who played in Grease? Of course, it was John Travolta, there. Jessica comes back and says, my favorite Christmas song is the one by the Temptations. Could be Silent Night.
Yep.
Gregory Nelson, I give you got Car Wash down there. Let's see. Love Jones, Jessica Dewberry, which we just said. Love and Basketball, Jessica Dewberry. Marcus Allen, the greatest love of all, from the movie on Muhammad Ali. Great. My daughter sang that at national anthems in college. She did two national anthems. Jessica Dewberry said Claudine soundtrack. Again, I'm telling you, Gladys Knight and the Pips. Woo! Oh, Marcus Allen says Cornbread Earl and Me. And like I said, Lawrence Fishburne, he spent at least a year, the summer with us across the street. I have the picture. I can send it to Joe, where he lived across. I finally found the picture where he lived with his grandmother in Patio Gardens for the summer, because we used to go up to his house. Claudine, Gregory Nelson came back, said, woo, I forgot. Thank you, Gregory Nelson. How did I forget this? One of my favorite soundtracks, Cooley High. Oh
Booyah.
my goodness. You talking about Motown? Woo! That's what I'm talking about. This is it. Michael Keith says, family, I had to come back. Soundtrack, Shaft, Superfly, Hell Up in Harlem. I can't get this other word, style. New Jack
Wild
City,
Style.
which I think, well, okay,
Wild
right.
Style. Wild Style.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. So those are some of the great soundtracks out there. And I want to just lighten it up before we got out of here today, or any movies that, you know, these songs touch you. I'm going to tell you, which is an interesting soundtrack for the new school. And you just talked about Rick Ross, the new Shaft movie that came out before the pandemic.
Yeah.
That Shaft soundtrack is good, but it's a different type of soundtrack. It's a newer flavor, but the songs in there are good. They are really, really good. And let's talk about television show. Let's talk about Power. Power, that intro. That intro. Remember, 50 Cent tried to change that intro, and people was like, no, bring that intro back. Power. Right. Power. Good Times. The Jeffersons. Yeah. Oh, man. We talking about TV shows, that songs that stuck with you? Come on. Sanford and Son.
Yes, sir.
That's Quincy Jones. That's Quincy Jones. Now, y'all will be shocked at me on this when I say this one. Fine. Y'all say for teen. Rock Around the Clock on Happy Days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
1 o'clock.
Big. That was big. 1 o'clock.
That's Haley Comic. That's whatever, the comments or whatever. Haley and the comments or something like that.
Yeah.
Jessica Dewberry says A Different World. See, Dead Presidents, Gregory Nelson said, I've never really listened to that soundtrack.
That was a good soundtrack.
I can easily bring that up.
Very good soundtrack.
Yeah, see? But I go back to Purple Rain, man. You know, because what Purple Rain showed was the sound of what, Joe? It was the sound of Minneapolis.
Oh, yeah, Minnesota.
The sound of Minneapolis, what Prince did. You got to realize all those, Jesse Johnson, all of them.
Yeah, we're gonna baptize you in
under
Lake Minnetonka.
Yeah, they all were under Prince. Sheila E., Prince, Vanity, Prince. All of these people come out of Minneapolis. Prince sound, the Minneapolis sound. We got to give credit to Prince.
The time.
Yeah. Jesse Johnson. What is the two brothers?
Jam and Lewis.
There you go. Minneapolis. Minneapolis.
Yeah.
That's it, man. So
it is 6 minutes.
Papa was a Rolling Stone. No song told a story like Papa was a Rolling Stone, brother Marcus Allen says.
Come on now. So it is 6 minutes, 6 minutes to the top of the hour. It has been a great hashtag Truth Be Told on this Work It Out Wednesday. Brother Fatim, hit me with some closing
have a great day. Put on, since we talking music and music get you in the mood, you see how it got us in the mood? Go play something. You know, I'm gonna check out some of these soundtracks, throw it on my Bose system as I'm doing Reverend Sharpton's rundown. Nah, I ain't gonna throw it on the Bose system. I'm gonna throw it on my wireless. I stay charged, my wireless headphones while I'm doing that. I'm gonna throw some of this music up in there and just enjoy. I got a couple of days before vacation starts for me, so I'm looking forward to that. So I'm ready for that. So y'all, and yes, Laura Bell, I did say New Jack City. That is a soundtrack. And let me tell y'all, go get Queen Latifah's first jazz album. Oh my God. I played that for my father-in-law. He was like, who is that? I was like, that's Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah, first jazz album. Go check that out. Queen can sing, y'all. So those are my closing words. Those are my closing words.
All right. Well, family, let me take him out. Family, I always say it the same way every time. Be better today than you were yesterday, and do something today to bless somebody somewhere, that no matter what you do, there's no earthly way they can pay you back. And always remember that there is no secret, absolutely no secret, what God can do. What he has done for others, he will and he can do for you. But when God is with you, nothing or nobody can stand against you. I am dedicating in every shape, form, or fashion every day for the rest of this week every one of these shows to my childhood friend, Sugar Bear. And I'm putting him up. I'm going to play this song because this is from a soundtrack of Clockers. I love this song. It is none other than Shaka Khan. Y'all be blessed. Have a wonderful day. Lord, say it the same. We'll be back tomorrow for Turn Up Thursday. Turn Down for What? That is my brother sitting in the midst of his tribe, his 2 daughters, his 3 sons. Y'all have a great, wonderful, and blessed day. Here's a little Shaka Khan.
Here is my hand for you to hold. Here's the part of me they have not sold. I've wandered far, I've had my fill. I need you now, do you love me still? Only you have seen the hidden part of me. Call me foolhardy if you will. I love you when do you love me still? So many smiles and lies surround me. Empty expectations, faceless fear. Sometimes this life is a bitter pill. I love you now, do you love me still? You have been mine since time untold. Our love is immortal, don't you know? Others will come and they will go, but I love you young and I love you old. Only you have seen the other side of me. Call me naive, I think you will. But I love you then, do you love me still? Here are the